Hi, friend. Thanks for checking out this webinar on how to get through the holidays. We know they're brutal, but there are some things that we can do to make them more bearable for you. We've had great reports from people who've attended this one. I've done it in person and also online. The one that you're watching is from a couple years ago. The content's the same though, and I hope you're really going to find it beneficial. Watch it by yourself or with other family members. You can watch it all the way through and do the exercises or watch it, pause when an exercise comes up, do it, and then press play and continue. Whatever works best for you. And I want to encourage you to leave a comment if there's anything that helped you in watching this webinar. And you'll also notice that in addition to the holidays, I'm also going to cover in the workbook that I've given you that you can download that's going to be on this page. The workbook also includes how to get through other tough days, not just the holidays. All right, hope this helps. Thanks.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome. I am so glad that you are joining us. And as glad as I am that you're here, I'm sorry that you have to be here because this is not the kind of webinar that you want to come to. Because if you're here, it means that you're hurting. And I am so sorry. But you have come to the right place. And I'm hoping that in an hour, you're going to have a little bit more hope and some encouragement for what lies ahead for you. I'm hoping that this will be something that you're going to be really glad that you participated. But for those of you who don't know me, and I see that I do know some of you here, I'm delighted to see some of you that I know. And for those of you that I don't know, we already have a common bond, all right, because I'm a griever too. So we're here with family, and I am a grief and loss specialist. This is what I do daily: is help people heal from the pain and anguish of major losses in their life. And I love what I do. I write on grief, I speak on grief, but what I think really enables me or qualifies me to talk to you today, even more so than any of those kind of credentials, is that I am a griever too. And 7 years ago, my husband died suddenly of a brain aneurysm. And I hate this picture that I'm showing you. It's a grainy picture, but it really represents how I felt for a long time. And I know that so many of you are feeling that way right now. I know what it's like to have an undescribable pain that you could not even understand until you've been through it. How do you put words to the anguish that you feel? I know what it's like to not want to go on. I wouldn't have taken my life, but if a bus hit me on the way home from work, I would have been just fine with that. I mean, can any of you relate to any of that? I mean, raise your hand if you can. That helps me to see that, yeah, we get it, right? It's how are we going to survive? How are we going to get through this? So I want you to look me in the eye and hear and see me say, you are normal. That is normal. It sucks and it's terrible, but it's normal. All right. There's nothing wrong with you. This is grief. And I am so sorry. And what I want to leave you with too, I know you can't imagine it, but look at me now. Okay. My life totally changed. I am not the same person, but life is good again. And where you are, I don't think a lot of you can imagine that, but I want to give you that hope. And I see it all the time. So just hang in there and stay with me. Okay. All right. Thank you. What we once enjoyed, we will never lose. All that we love deeply becomes part of us. If I can get anything through to you today, what I want you to hear is, as we try to live forward with our lives after we lose a loved one, it is not about forgetting them. And this workshop and webinar is not about forgetting them over the holidays or moving on. It is about remembering them and remembering them well. They are still with us, but in a different way. And I want to give you lots of options to embrace your grief, but also to remember your loved one, because they sure are worth remembering. Before we get into holidays, I just want to talk about other days that are tough for us. And we don't have a lot of time with them, but they're going to be in your worksheet. So I call these, their tug days, and anniversary of their death, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays. Does anybody know when I talk about those days, they're those days that you just dread, that that your pain is going to be just a little more deeply felt. That loss is going to be more obvious to you. So tug means temporary upsurges in grief. And the key word here is temporary. Okay, they're heavy and they're hard, but they are temporary. And the key to managing these is actually planning for them. So I'm going to just quickly go over this, and there's more details in your workbook. Okay, but you want to plan on these days and meet them head on, not avoid them. If you know they're going to be a tough day, then plan for it. For instance, if you work and it's the anniversary of your loved one's death, or maybe it's their birthday and it's going to be particularly hard, then take the day off work. Give yourself a break. You deserve it. Pick who you want to be with. We have people in our lives that get us and can support us, and we have other people that are going to drain us. Do you get what I'm sure we can all relate to that. So pick who you want to be with. Please don't wait for people to remember, because oftentimes they're not going to remember that this is a tough day for you. They're not going to remember that it's been a year since you lost your loved one. They might not remember that it's their birthday. So you can tell them, it's the year anniversary and this is going to be tough for me. It's Mother's Day and this is going to be tough for me. Tell them what you need, and then find a way to deal with the day. What would you like to do? I just had a friend who it was their mother's birthday and they lost their mother. And you know what they did on their birthday? They all got together and they had her favorite food all in one sitting, a bunch of her favorite foods, like grilled cheese sandwiches and an ice cream sundae, and I think French fries. I don't know what it else was, but what would be memorable for you? What would honor them? Give yourself permission to cry, but also give yourself permission to feel good. Remember that you lost them, but also celebrate the fact that they lived. And I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, but that's okay. You don't have to take notes because it's in the workbook. And so don't worry about that. You'll remember something. So in the workbook is a tug planning worksheet. Think about the days. What do you want to do? And who do you want with you? So I want to encourage you to go ahead and do that. And if you have a piece of paper in front of you, can we just take 1 minute right now and write down the days that you think might be tough for you? And if you have the tug worksheet, if you printed out the workbook, then go ahead and just write them down there. But let's just take 30 seconds for you to write down some days, because it's much harder to do this after the fact. And I'd like us to get some of it done. Okay. And when you're done, just raise your hand. Okay. When we're done this, when you have time, doesn't have to be today, please think about this and what you want to do. It's a way to also help you heal. All right. We don't want to deny our grief. Great job. Thank you. Let's talk about the holidays. How do we survive these holidays? And how many of you would like to just, here's my little quiz for this one. Just raise your hand. I don't know how to get to my poll. I apologize. Like I said, I am a little technologically challenged, but how many of you would like to just skip the holidays? That's what I want to know right here. Okay, so here it is, right here. How many there? Okay, so here's the poll. How many? Just skip them. Great. Okay, so it's kind of half and half. All right, so we've got 45% want to skip them, 55 are saying okay. And at the end of this, maybe you'll be more interested in doing them, but we'll see. But thank you. That would be completely normal. And then you add COVID to all of this too, right? This is just such a crazy time. And I am actually going to give you permission to skip the holidays if you really want to do that. But let's see, you might feel differently at the end. So why are the holidays so hard? Well, grief doesn't take a holiday. And it is so obvious that our loved ones are missing, right? Because this is all about family and traditions. expectations and memories swirl around us, right? We are well aware that our loved one isn't with us. And it's also a time where we see so many happy families when our family isn't so happy. There's so many different emotions. Other people are having the Hallmark holiday, right? Well, we may be feeling isolated, lonely, frustrated. How many of you, raise hands if it's hard for you to see all the happy people around you and the happy families? Is that tough for you? Oh, okay. The hands are going. Yeah. I want you to understand that that again would be completely normal. There's nothing wrong with you. One of the hardest things for me was the happy Christmas cards that I would get. Those where everything's great with their family. And I know that I've had other friends who lost their spouse and family members, and they didn't feel the same way about Christmas cards. But those were tough for me. Does anyone feel that way about Christmas cards? The letters? It's just me. Yeah. I know. I felt like I was being like a Scrooge, but they were just really hard for me. Okay. Also, our hearts are breaking, our brain is in a fog, and our legs are heavy. So we'd rather stay in bed. It's just a lot. Is there any good news here? Yes, there is some good news. These holidays are going to be different. They're going to be different now because of COVID anyway. They're going to be difficult, but these holidays can still be good. We can create good moments in them. So stay with me. What poses a problem or is your most pressing concern right now as we anticipate these holidays? So let me see if let me see I still don't know what I'm doing with the polling. Sorry. I had one here, attendees. Okay, stop sharing that. Okay. And let me go to this one. Okay. What's your biggest concern or worry for this holiday season? As I know, sometimes it can help me address it. So I know I'm asking you a lot of questions. There's a lot about forgetting your loved one. Okay. Expectations, energy, alone. Okay. Not everyone's answered yet, but I'll just go ahead and share real quick where we're at there as well. Okay, so certainly the loneliness, overwhelmed, forgetting. Okay, oh my gosh, this is not about forgetting. I'm so glad you're here because we're going to find ways to remember them. Okay, great. Thank you for that. So how are we going to do this? We're going to plan ahead. Okay, even if you decide to skip the holidays, we're going to have to plan ahead. But I do want you to hear me. If you just feel like you can't do the holidays, it's okay to not do them. If you were doing that for 4 years in a row, I would be concerned. All right. If you have children where you need to do something special for them, well, then we should probably do that. Right. But it's okay if you want to say, I'm just not doing them. But even if you do, we have to have a plan for that. So I'm giving you permission. It's okay to not be okay. So you have choices. You're going to decide what you're going to do, how much of it you want to do, and with whom. And your plan needs to be flexible. Plan A and plan B. So we're going to look at how to deliberately plan to meet your grief head on and grieve well. How many of us want to avoid the grief and the pain? Can we put our hands up for that? It's like, I don't want to go there. I just don't want to go there. I don't want to feel it. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of hands. My friends, I know it's so hard to think about feeling that kind of emotion and pain. But the only cure, and it's not a cure, so to speak, but the only cure for grief is to grieve. Part of healing is feeling the pain and the emotions that go with it, even when they're hard and they're overwhelming to us. So I'm really going to challenge you and ask you to have courage to lean into it, okay, and not to cover it up. And I know that can be tough, but trust me, it's so much better in the long run, even if it seems really hard right now. And while we do this and embrace your emotions, I'm going to show you how to honor your loved one in this. And you want to know why it hurts so much? It's because you loved them so much. So your grief and your pain is a reflection of your love. Let's look at your emotions. Sadness, isolation, loneliness, anger. Okay. And you may be feeling all these things and nobody around you knows it. So, how many of you are pretending for the most part with other people that you're okay? Can you raise your hand? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm okay. We're award-winning actors. We learned that in grief recovery, that grievers are the biggest actors because people do not, I'm seeing a lot of hands. Okay. People do not like to see us upset. And we learn that people are more comfortable when we appear okay. True strength is found in being real. So please don't stuff it, lean into it, and embrace it. I know it's tough, but it's worth it. And we understand that our emotions are unpredictable. What do we usually do when we start to cry or break down? What's the first word that we say? I wish we could chat right here, but it would be sorry. How many of you say sorry when you start to break down or cry right now? Sorry, 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 right? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, I see the hands. Thank you. How about we say, wow, I'm just having a really tough day. This is a catastrophic loss and I'm feeling it today, right? Expectations. We want to manage your expectations of two people groups. First of all, people groups. First of all, yourself, and then those around you. You probably already know this, but I'm surprised when I meet with a client or the first time after they lose someone, and I have to explain to somebody that do you get that when you've had a major loss in your life of someone you love dearly, that grief permeates your body and it weakens you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It gets you everywhere. You are overwhelmed. How many of you can't think straight, right? Do you have trouble? Do you realize that we think slower than other people? It's harder for us to make decisions. We are just worn out. Can any of you relate to that? Have you ever thought you were losing your mind? Raise your hand if that describes any of you. And you think, my gosh, why am I not as effective at work? Why am I losing my temper? Why am I out of sorts? Why am I so tired? Why can't I make a decision? You have grief. And it's an actual condition, grief brain. It is a fog. And be gracious to yourself. Do you know there was one day, and this was not right after my husband died. This was probably 8 months after. I hit something 3 times with my car, with 2 different cars. Thank goodness it wasn't a person, but they were things that were right in front of me, big poles that there was no reason for me to miss them. I ran right into them. Can anybody relate to doing anything like that? Where it's just like, what's wrong with me, right? I just wasn't there. And you question your sanity. No, you're normal. You're normal. Be gentle with yourself. Lower your expectations on what you can do and what you can't do. It's not that you can't do anything or that you have to do everything, but let's come somewhere in between. What can you do? Let's be realistic about what these holidays could look like. You can't duplicate past holidays, especially with COVID too. Don't try to make things as normal as possible because they're not normal. Don't be what everyone else wants you to see. And here's the word I want you to say, no. No, thank you. I can't do that. That's not going to work for me. Thank you for suggesting it. Thank you for inviting me, but I'm afraid no. And please watch the word should. I should do this. If should is in there, then it might be something that you want to reconsider. Traditions. Which ones do you want to keep? This is a great time to look at your traditions. Do you want to make new ones or change them? And I want to encourage you to discuss them as a family. And we're going to have a time in just a few minutes where we're actually going to work on a worksheet together. You're going to have some moments to look at those things because this is a great opportunity to reevaluate. When you do this as a family, it is healing because the family that grieves together heals together. So I encourage you, if you have young children, bring them into this conversation. If you have adult children, bring them into this conversation. If you're adult children and you've lost a parent, and so get together with your siblings and talk about how you want to do this. Decorations. Do you have the energy or desire to even do it? Are you going to do it because of the expectations of others? If you don't want to do them, don't. If you have children, that might be nice, but maybe you don't have the energy. So if you don't have the energy, then I'm going to encourage you, and I know this is tough because we don't like to bother people, but to ask your friends, look, I know the kids would love the decorations up, but I am just so tired. Do you think you could help me? And I promise you, there's a friend there that would love to help you. Your friends, they're just waiting for you to tell them what you need. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Prepare yourself for the emotion of unwrapping these decorations. For me, our Christmas tree was particularly tough because it had ornaments on it that represented all the trips and places we traveled, my husband and I could not put those ornaments on the tree. So I couldn't take them out, and I went and bought generic ornaments, just regular bulbs, and put those on. So what do you need? And I'm always going to get back to that. I want you to ask the question, what is right for me this season? Not necessarily what's right for everybody else. And we can ask, if there's children in that involved. We want to pay attention, but what is right for you? Shopping. I don't even know if you can be in stores right now with more lockdown with COVID, but maybe this is not the time to be there. If all those decorations and that holiday spirit is going to be hurtful or painful for you, then maybe you don't want to do it and you want to do online shopping. All right. So, maybe it's just going to be gift cards, or maybe you're not going to do gifts. I don't know. But watch the overspending. For me, it was very easy for me to spend a lot of money after my husband died. For some reason, it seemed to bring me comfort. I don't recommend it, but I know that it's common. Can any of you relate to that with spending in your grief? No, is it just me? Okay, I see a couple. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it that I'm not just there because it temporarily makes us feel better. Okay, we all have ways of dealing with these things. Okay, thank you. There's a holiday planning sheet that it's in your workbook. If you don't have it with you, then that's okay. I'm going to show it to you here. And let's just take a moment. You can do it on a piece of paper. We're going to let's take about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to give you, I'd like you to spend some time on this and think about these holidays. And if it's not Thanksgiving and Christmas, I don't know if it's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever your occasion is, then you could of course address this too. But ask yourself, like, okay, Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving Day meal, do you want to keep it? Do you want to change it? Do you want to drop it? If you're going to keep it, do you need some help? What are the traditions that you want, or what would you like to do differently? Same thing with Christmas. And I know it's hard now because we're talking about going to parties, but what do you want to do there too? Are you going to do Christmas cards? I did not do any Christmas cards after my husband died. But I think I'm going to hold off on this. Let's come back to this because I want to talk to you a little bit more, and I think you'll have more information. So let's hold off on doing this. Bear with me. Let's go to Christmas cards. Even though I didn't do Christmas cards, had I known what I know now, I probably would have, because it's a great opportunity to communicate with people before you have an uncomfortable situation. You could write a newsletter or a little note in your Christmas card, or you could even do it on Facebook. And what this is called is a grief letter. And I think this is a great idea. And I've had a lot of clients and people who've been in my workshops do this before, and they send me copies of them, and they've been really successful. So this is a way for you to tell people what you need. Your friends and even family members, they are hurting for you and they want to help, but they don't get it. How many of you feel misunderstood by friends or family members? Can you put your hands up if you feel that they just don't get it? And we're not criticizing them. We're just saying, yeah, they just don't. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And couldn't we say, at least I could, that before my husband died, I didn't get it either. And after he died, I was horrified at some of the things that I had said and thought about my friends who'd lost loved ones. So that really changed my perspective. So let's try and keep that in mind. They usually have very good intentions, but they just don't get it and they don't know. So you could send them a letter. And this was a letter that I would have written had I known to do this. So this would be about my husband, Mark. Dear friends, I loved the holidays and want to have that same holiday spirit and excitement I had before. But after Mark's passing, it's pretty hard to feel cheery and festive. So I'm taking this time to help you to help me. I know you are uncomfortable as you don't like to see me sad and are not sure what to say to me or how to approach me. So I hope I can make it easier by sharing a few things. I love to talk about Mark. I love to hear any of your memories or stories about Mark. I can be happy 1 minute and crying the next. It just happens. Don't be alarmed. Sometimes I want to and plan to attend an event, but then at the last minute, my emotions change and I'm not up to it. I appreciate your patience and understanding if I let you down or don't meet your expectations. I have to do what is best for me. I may not always answer texts, emails, or voicemails, but I do see them and appreciate them. Sometimes I'm just not up to talking. Can you see how something like that could really help your friends and family know what you need? And if you're not comfortable doing this in a letter, like I said, you could put a Facebook post, 5 ways you could help me this holiday season, or 5 things I want you to know. Here's another example. I love sharing memories. Help me to honor them. Allow me to cry, laugh, or leave when I need to. Allow me to say no to invitations. The Christmas card or a card, you could even do it in New Year's if you want to do a New Year's card. I've had people do that. It can also be a great opportunity to tell people about the loss of your loved one that may not know. I had a dear friend whose young son, well, he was about 22, had died in an accident, and I didn't know. She was far away, and she sent a card out to everybody explaining it and then what she needed. And that was, I'm so glad that she did. Or so that's something to consider. Friends and family. It's likely that while you're grieving, you might not even know what what you need. So it's very hard to tell them what they need, what you need. So keep that in mind. And we can change our mind like the weather, right? Sometimes we want to talk about things. Sometimes we don't want to talk about things. One of the things that really helped people around us was when people would come to my house, the first thing I would say is, we love to talk about Mark. And I could see their whole bodies go, oh, thank you. Because what were they doing? They were talking on the way about, should we say his name? Should we not say his name? They didn't know what to do. So letting people know what you need is going to be the key to everything. We had a really rough first Thanksgiving, at least I did. And I realize now I could have changed everything, but I didn't know these tools. So my first Thanksgiving, that was the first holiday after my husband died, and we were at his family's house. So my husband carved the turkey, was such a big part of this celebration. So I assumed that they were going to be acknowledging him during this day, that there would be a table setting for him, and maybe his name would be somewhere. We would be talking about him. There'd be an empty chair. I had all these ideas in my head about how he was going to be honored. Well, guess what happened? Not only was he not honored in that way, they didn't even say his name. I was devastated. And I was not only hurt, I was angry, really angry. Do you think they did it to hurt me? And I wish I could see your faces, but I hope you're going, did they do it to hurt me? No. They did it. Why? Because they didn't know what to do. And they thought it would hurt me if they brought it up. Since then, knowing what I know now, I've communicated to them what I need, and it was like night and day. So they were awkward, I was awkward, and all I needed to do was say, I'd really like to honor Mark this Thanksgiving. I have this idea. Do you have any ideas? And they would have embraced it, but I just didn't know how to do that. So please, please tell people what you need and what you'd like to do. It's going to make all the difference. Most people are well-meaning, they just don't know how to help you. So again, tell them what you need. That's how most people around us are feeling. What if I say the wrong thing, right? They're so afraid. And I bet we could sit down and talk probably for a half an hour about all the things that people have said to you that weren't particularly helpful, right? But they're trying to make you feel better. At least it wasn't this bad, or I get how you feel, or they're in a better place. All those things that they mean well, but not very helpful. Pick who you want to be with. If there are some people that really drain you, then you want to be cautious about engaging with them. Maybe you need to protect yourself right now, or someone else can help protect you. Do what is right for you. People may have expectations that you can't meet. And I have talked to people who said, my family just doesn't get it. They want me to be part of this. And why? It's because they think I need to be busy. So if I'm there, it means I'm doing well. It's okay for you to say, you know what? I really appreciate that you are caring for me and you think this is good, but I have to do what is best for me. And part of my grief is honoring my emotions, and I'm just not up to that. So even though you may think that this is bad, I know this is actually good. But thank you for caring. It's another great response is, gee, thank you for that suggestion or that idea, but this is what I've decided to do. It's just explaining it. What do you wish people knew about how to help you? We don't have time really to do this right now, but in your workbook, there's a whole sheet on it that will help you decide how people can help you. And you can use that as a template then to write a grief letter if you want, or do a social media post on it. Social events. Well, I don't know with COVID now if they're even going to have social events. But if they do, I want you to give yourself permission to say no or to change your mind. I'm not up to coming. If you feel like you're under pressure, tell the host or hostess, you know, right now I would love to come, but there's a good chance that I could change my mind because I don't know how I'm going to feel. Is that okay with you? Most of them are going to say, absolutely, but you've let them know. Have a plan A and a plan B, which means I'm going to go to the event, but maybe you want to drive yourself because you could have a little breakdown. Have any of you been somewhere and had a breakdown? Can you raise your hand where it's just, oh my gosh, I've got to get out of here? Okay, I'm seeing it. Yes. Okay. All right. I wish you could see the hands, because if we were all together, you would feel like you were with a bunch of comrades here, that we get it, that we felt that way, that you are not alone. So let's say, all right, I'm going to go. But if I have a breakdown, I'm going to drive myself and I'm going to leave. And I've done that before. You know, my son and I would go to an event sometimes and I would leave early because I could only stay for so long and he could handle it longer than I could. If you want to talk about your loved one, tell them that you want to talk about it. And if you don't, tell them that too. A tip that I'm thinking of right now, as you get together for an occasion where it's obvious that they're going to be missing, you're going to notice your loved one's absence, everybody is, let's address the elephant in the room, okay? Which is, oh my goodness, we're missing Mark and we're all missing him right now and hurting. Grab hands if you want and just acknowledge the loss. When everybody acknowledges it, it's a huge relief. And then you can go on the rest of the day and there'll be good moments and there'll be sad moments. But this is a part of the healing process too. And it's foreign to us because we want to pretend we're okay. We need to take care of you right now. Make time for yourself. All right. And with COVID, it's especially hard. So let's address that. Okay. You're already hurting. You're overwhelmed. You're fatigued. Your brain's not working properly. And now all of a sudden we have COVID. I mean, how crazy is that? And people who aren't grieving a loved one are having a tough time right now just because of COVID. So you add what you're going through with it. And by golly, let's just get through each hour and each day. But let's lower our expectations. So let's eliminate unnecessary stress and set some boundaries. I also have some tips for how to handle doing some get-togethers with COVID. So let me give you a couple of ideas for that too. If you can't meet as a family in person, you could do a virtual holiday meal. right? Where you get on FaceTime or Zoom and everybody has their meal, but you're sitting together. If you're local, but you don't want to be together, then you could actually make side dishes, each of you, and drop them off at each other's house. So someone makes the mashed potatoes, a big batch, but drops it off at the other people's house. Someone else makes a green bean casserole, drops it off. But so you're actually sharing the same meal. I read it, I thought that's not a bad idea. Someone could make dessert. Another one was, of course, to play games online. You could also say, you know what, we're not doing Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever this year. We're going to actually celebrate it in July, and we're going to have a huge celebration in July. If you want to postpone it, you could do that. You could use this as a time, since you can't physically be together, to create an album of family memories where you start recording stories or things that you might want to remember, and we could create a book together. I also read about a gingerbread house contest. So people could all make gingerbread houses, and then you could Zoom them to each other or photograph them, and we can pick out a winner. I mean, just something to engage. All right. And if you have great ideas, I'm hoping that maybe you'll email or share them with me later, because I would love to know. Okay. Find ways to remember your loved one. This is not about forgetting them. I'm going to say over and over again. It is about remembering them. They are not with you physically, but you will never lose them totally, because they are part of you. My husband will always be part of me. He is part of who I am. And a lot of what I do, I think about, what would he do? He's very much a part of my life, and your loved one can be as well. So let's find ways to acknowledge and remember them. And what's going to be comfortable for you is going to be just as unique for you from person to person, just like grief is. Have you ever noticed that there is no right or wrong way to grieve? You may even be watching with someone right now as a family. You're watching this webinar. And when you think about the way you're experiencing your grief, you're thinking, well, that person's not grieving the way I am. And that's because we do it all differently. Someone could be very emotional and expressive, and someone else might be very closed and quiet. Normal. Let's not judge it. It doesn't mean they're not grieving. It's just that we grieve differently. Well, this was how I spent Thanksgiving. And maybe to some of you, you might think it's crazy, but it's what worked for me. So if something like this, or you can come up with a way to honor your loved one, then I want you to do it. But this is my husband's ashes here in the little chest. And what I did on Thanksgiving, I knew Thanksgiving was going to be a really tough day. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, I packed up his ashes, put him in the passenger seat of my car. I went to Starbucks and I got a peppermint mocha, which was my favorite holiday drink. That reminds me of the holidays. I went to a beach where I could see this island. It's in Long Beach, and it means something to me, this island. And I got a blanket and I sat there with my peppermint mocha and his ashes, and I cried, and I listened to music, and I talked to him. I sang. I must have looked like I was crazy, but it was so good for me. It was sad. I was hurting, but it was good. And I did that for 4 years, and I'm so glad I did. So maybe there's something you'd like to do. There's some ideas here, and they're in the workbook as well. I want to go over some of them because maybe you're going to use them in your worksheet. You could light a celebration of life candle. So it could be for the whole holiday season, or it could be at a special event or a special day that reminds you of your loved one. You could have a little memorial table with your loved one's pictures and the candle to remember them. Or it could be an empty chair, a place setting. You could give someone a special gift in memory of your loved one. You could plant a memorial tree or a flower bed. Now, I know someone who took their spouse's ashes and planted them in the yard and planted a special tree over top of it. And it's called, it's her name, the tree, that's what they call it. And, the Sarah tree, which I thought was great. I've also had clients where what they did is they had a little garden party. They wanted a little memorial garden in their yard for their loved one. And so they invited their loved one's friends to all get a little outdoor plant. and to come to a couple of hours, there was like a 2-3 hour period, and come and plant it in this garden that was going to be a memorial garden for their loved one. And it was a great time of celebrating and remembering. And this is great to get the kids involved too with this. Volunteer to help with a charity that they liked. Create your own memorial service. This is a really popular one here. Maybe on Thanksgiving, everybody writes a memory of the loved one, and then you put it into a memory box or a stocking. And then on Christmas Day, you open them up and you read them out loud together. That can be a really good one. Include your loved one's favorite dish, play their favorite game, adopt a family, make a memorial ornament. If you knew the music that they liked, play their favorite songs. Look through photo albums, share an important lesson. Wouldn't it be great to say, tell me one thing you learned from this person, or tell me a funny story. This is a great opportunity, again, to bring them into it. Write a poem. You could do a little candle service like this. I do this at my retreats at the end, where we have a picture of the loved one, and we have 4 little tea light candles in different colors. And we light these 4 candles in honor of you. We light one for our grief, one for our courage, and one for our memories, one for our love. And this is all in your workbook, so don't feel like you have to remember any of this. I'm going to take you back to the worksheet now, and I'm going to see if there's, we can add, look at the memorial list. Is there anything you might like to do? Okay. Or maybe you're going to think of another way. So let me go back to the list, and let's take 5 minutes. Okay. Let's just take 5 minutes right now. Deep breath. Can I just see a show of hands? Is anybody getting any ideas that they think they may be able to use here? Can I just see, like, am I even on the right track? I might be boring you to death. I don't know, but I'm hoping. Okay. You're finding some good. Okay. Wonderful. All right. So, thank you. Okay. Let's take a deep breath. And let's sit with this for a little bit and spend some time. And if you're with another family member, then work on this together. But we're going to spend at least 5 minutes looking at this. All right. Because I'd rather we do it now than you do this by yourself. So, all right. You're on your own for 5 minutes. You know what you're also doing? Often when we're grieving, we feel like things are so out of control. Can anyone relate to that? Like, it's just so out of control. And this is a way of getting a little bit of control back as well. So, all right, where are we here? Thanks. Okay, seeing it. Okay. Almost there. Children. How many of you have children that are mourning this loss as well? I'm assuming there's a lot of you. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. This is where it gets a little tough, because children don't really know how to express their grief either. And it may be even they won't appear sad. They might actually act out or be angry or not do well in school, or you could see it show itself in other ways. So you really want to be in tune to how they're feeling and listen. That's in the worksheet too. I have our workbook. I have a little bit more detail on that, but listen and allow them to have sad feelings, just like I'm telling you that it's okay for you to have them, and you're going to model it for them. All right. Everything isn't okay. All right. They lost somebody too. So you want to teach them to embrace their sadness and them missing the loved one. And you can do it together. And it's wonderful to have a conversation. What would you like to say to this person right now? What do you remember about them? I would say, to the children, if they were younger, whatever, draw a memory. Draw a memory. As a matter of fact, that could be a great activity at one of these events. Even let's all draw a picture of a memory we have of this person, even the adults, right? And then maybe, like, I just would draw stickmen because I'm terrible, but it could be something. And then we take turns and we hold it up and we share it. That's a great idea. And it gets the kids involved as well. All their feelings are allowed. Get their input as much as possible. Be flexible and create new traditions. Don't forget to have some fun. How many of you feel guilty when you laugh or smile? Have you ever caught yourself laughing or being happy for a minute? You think, oh, people are going to think that I'm not grieving and I'm not missing my loved one. I felt the same way. Can you listen to the pressure that we are putting on ourselves when we do that? What do you think your loved one would want for you right now? Do you think that if you had a moment of happiness or of laughter, that they would want that for you or that they would begrudge that? They would want that for you. That does not mean that you miss them any less. Do you see the expectations we have? They're so unrealistic. Gratitude. I know we all hear about how great it is to be grateful and to practice gratitude because it does tend to help us feel better about things. And it does. It does have an impact, especially if we tend to be rather depressed, but it's also difficult to do. But when you can, I want to encourage it. If you can practice Thanksgiving, what you're grateful for, writing it down, what you are thankful for your loved one. Sometimes I suggest, and people have done this on social media, they decide, oh, for this season or the next week or the next month, I'm going to post one thing that I'm thankful about for my loved one. Or I'm going to post one picture of them, whether it's once a week or once a day, and tell a little story. Something like that to honor them. Go ahead, have fun with it. Create a playlist of songs that mean something to you. I had a whole playlist that I listened to every morning. I didn't know how I was going to survive. So for me, it was playing music that it was just hope, right? Hope, and all music about people like that were hurting like me, that I just felt like they got it. And that meant something to me. So what might mean something to you? What music might help you? This season, what am I thankful for? My mind that still remembers you, my voice that still speaks of you, my spirit that still hears you, and my heart that still loves you. Embrace your treasured memories, my friends. These legacies cannot be taken from you. Share them. Bring your loved one with you. Talk about them. And when memories bring laughter, smile. When memories bring sadness, cry and talk about them. Remember, do what is right for you. What's going to be best? What do you need? Find moments of joy and love if you can. Open your heart. Your loved one would want nothing but your happiness over the holidays. Don't feel guilty to laugh, joke, or to find joy, even though I know right now you're thinking, are you kidding? It's not going to happen. But there might be a couple of moments where it does. Remember a good thing that you loved. Remember a good thing that your loved one would want for you. I like this question. Ask yourself, even right now, let's ask yourself this question. What would your loved one want for you right now? What would they want? And that's a really good question to ask yourself when you're trying to make decisions and figuring out what to do or what the next step is. So I hope you'll remember that one. These holidays are going to be different. They're going to be difficult, but they can still be good. They really can. And they can be used for your healing. One more time. Lower your expectations of yourself and others. Talk about your grief. Understand that you are tapped out right now, mentally, physically, okay, emotionally, and try and eliminate any unnecessary stress. Plan ahead. Be with supportive, comforting people. Talk about the person you've lost if you want to. Communicate your needs beforehand, honor them, and it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. I want to encourage you to watch out for social media right now, because at a time when people are posting, all their family pictures and everybody's so happy, it can be really hard for those of us whose hearts are breaking. And so if you think that's going to bring you down, don't look at it, please. Just like the Christmas cards brought me down, be careful what you expose yourself to. My wish for you, my friends, is that you're going to be able to say this. I'm going to find ways to honor you, my loved one, and care for my own heart too. I'll grieve well and I'll make the best choices I can. I miss you. That's from Gary Rowe. And then I love this next quote, and I'm not sure where it comes from. I couldn't figure it out. But grief is the last act of love we have to give to those we loved. Where there is deep grief, there was great love. So again, your grief is a reflection of your love. And that's why it hurts so much. How many of you can relate to that? Do you understand that your grief is a reflection of your love? Okay. Wow. I just threw a whole bunch at you. So let me just wrap it up and then happy to stay to answer questions. Do any of you, raise of hands, first of all, if you found something that you could use? I hope you did. Okay. Great. Oh, good. Okay. Raise your hands if you have a little bit more hope than you had when you started this webinar. I'm hoping just a little bit more. Okay. All right. And I know it's still tough. We're not fixing everything, right? So what I would like to say before I get into questions too, is that grief is a normal and natural reaction to a loss. All right. And it's just tough. But I am living proof that it doesn't have to be that way forever.